Hey, 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 happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of thegaminggang.com. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time visiting, I spent about half the show talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and the other half of the show sharing a first look at a gaming product. Maybe it's a board game or role-playing game or miniatures rule set, because we are going to have some of that this week as well. So tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Scope Stalingrad, which is, let's get some of that glare out of there, which is from Draco Ideas. And this is game, it is for 2 or 4 players. I don't think it's 2 to 4 players. And it is a World War II sniper game. So I believe it's kind of a deduction game as well. So we are going to be taking a look at that tonight. Of course, like I said, if it's your first time here, kick back, put your feet up, relax. We're not engaging in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. We're just hanging out, having fun, talking about games. Of course, if you are a longtime viewer, if you visit from time to time with me, thanks again for taking some time out of your busy life to hang around with this knucklehead as I just ramble on and on. So tonight is Monday, April 19th, 2021. This is live stream number 650. Yowza. 650. Holy jamoles. So there is that. So kind of interestingly enough, do you want to mention that there's another 50 number that I will get into in just a second. But do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when I stream the Dispatch live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Delta Green Black Sights from Arc Dream Publishing, which just popped up Saturday night. And it is the 750th review from the Gaming Gang. How about that? Of course, in the video, I do point out I am not the reviewer for all 750 reviews. My best friend, Elliot Miller, who, of course, if you watch, I mention all the time, he was an integral part of the Gaming Gang in our first few years. And we've had some other contributors as well. And of course, right now, Sammy Uhas does provide some really great role-playing game PDF reviews as well. So a majority of the reviews are from me, but not all. So I want to give some credit where credit is due. Also, you might be looking around the Gaming Gang channel saying, hey, wait a second, Jeff. I don't see 750 reviews. Excuse me. And you won't, because a little more than half of the reviews from the Gaming Gang are written. We did not start off doing video. So, in fact, we were around a couple of years, maybe almost 3 years, I think, before we started doing any sort of video whatsoever. So it's close. It's close to half, but it's a little more than half are written reviews. All right. Something else I should mention, because this is a live stream, that also means that there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in, and I will do my best to respond. So I got to say, it is a little chilly today in the Duct Tape Studios. Chicago area, our temperatures are plummeting. In fact, there's talk that we might see some snow tonight and into tomorrow. It's like, okay, it's towards towards the back end of April, and we're gonna have snow. Yeah, you oughta. It's kind of funny because it's like, okay, so yesterday it was like, yeah, low 60s, and then today I think it's high 40s, and tomorrow it's like in the 30s, and then by the weekend we're back in the 60s again. So it's like, I don't know, crazy. Good thing there's no global warming. It's like, yeah, right. This is all climate change, folks. All of it. Okay, anyway, so I was mentioning, as far as with the gaminggang.com, that when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. All right, so we've got some folks hanging out in chat. Clint Gibson's first out the gate tonight saying hello. The Motor City Madman is with us again. Good to see the Madman here. And Sarah D is poking her head out to say hello. So Sarah says they've seen snow in May. They are in Illinois. The seasons don't matter here. I know. I'm in Illinois, too. I am in the, well, we would consider to be the far, southwestern suburbs or western suburbs of Chicago. But I did grow up in the city. In fact, I spent, all told, probably about 28 years, almost 30 years living in Chicago proper. So I love Chicago. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So yes, we have seen snow in May before. It's just it's really just unusual. It's very unusual. Now, like opening day at Wrigley Field, it's not unusual to have snow or it to be really cold. And I know because I've been there. So it's like, oh yeah, I've been to Wrigley Field where there was still snow in the park. So people were kind of throwing snowballs at each other. So, all right, I got a good amount of news tonight we are going to jump on into. And of course, first off, Mushroom Games and Lucky Duck Games are porting the popular 2019 board game Small Islands over into the English language. It's coming this summer. Here's the latest. Small Islands is a tile placement game in which you are daring explorers discovering a magnificent archipelago. Its islands are brimming with natural resources, but also temples from an ancient and mysterious civilization. Brave adventurers, bring back to your clan wealth and prestige. The game is played in a maximum of 4 rounds. At the beginning of each round, each player secretly picks an objective card out of 3 cards, and in turn, players draw and place a landscape tile out of the 5 available, 2 in hand and 3 on the table. At a certain point, another option becomes available, placing a ship tile. When this tile is placed in turn, all players place houses on the islands and earn prestige points according to their objective. Then, players start a new round. When the game ends, players receive additional points for their ship tiles. In the advanced mode, objectives are split into 2 types of cards, which allows you to create your own objectives amongst many combinations. There's also a solo mode, innovative for its mechanics as well as for the very concept of a solo mode in a tile placement game. We gave it an AI with personality and different behaviors. Small Islands offers you even more surprises hidden at its heart. Small Islands is for 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays at around 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $34.99. when it arrives in the third quarter. Sweet. I say it all the time. I like tile placement games. Not everyone. I mean, there are some tile placement games where I was sort of like, meh. I got a soft spot for them. I tend to like that mechanic. Always like the visual pop that some tile laying games, many tile laying games provide on your tabletop. Definitely dig that as well. So this is something to keep an eye out on because this game has been out for almost 2 years and had not been released in English until this coming summer. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. Melwinius from York has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Melwinius. Thanks for swinging on in. I think last time Melwinius popped in, they swung in, said hello, and said, yeah, gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta get going. Just wanted to say hello. So welcome back. Anyway, so I sort of say it's kind of chilly in here, but it's also rather dry in here again. Don't know. Well, actually, I'd rather have it dry in the Duct Tape Studios than really humid and sweaty. Blah. All right, on to our next news piece. Coming soon from Pythagoras Games is Rosio. I think that's how it's pronounced. Here's the scoop. In Rosio, become a stonecutter commissioned by the King of Portugal to pave one of the most important squares with calcita tiles, which are famous black and white tiles. I believe they are pronounced calcita. Then again, you know me, I treat English like a second language, so anything that's another language, never know. The Portuguese king has called the finest stonemasons of the country to pave one of the most important squares with these tiles. They are worldwide famous black and white tiles that pave several squares throughout Portugal. But the task is enormous, and players will have to count on the aid of helper cards who will, obviously, help them score points and or collect money. Rocio is all about timing. Recruit a card face up late in the game, and then it'll score fewer times than expected. Recruit it too early, and it will score you a few points since there are a few tiles built on the square. Too many cards recruited face down will give that extra amount of money, but they won't score you any points. Build several tiles, and you're probably helping your opponents. Build fewer tiles, and you probably won't have money next turn to recruit a face-up card. There is a lot of background information about playing this game from Pythagoras. I kind of cut some of it out so that this wasn't a 10-minute news piece. Rocio is a game with very simple rules, but with high interaction between players and interesting decisions every single turn. Rocio is for 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $45 when it arrives at the end of this month, possibly into early May, depending on your friendly local game store. This sounded kind of interesting. Once again, I kind of cut some of the heart of the here's how you play the game because it was like 11 paragraphs long. I was like, yeah, and there's only 2 images to look at while we're talking about it, but sounds kind of interesting. I have to say that Pythagoras is out of Portugal, and they've got some interesting sounding games. I've shared some news about some of their releases in the past, and I gotta admit, they always look pretty interesting. This one looks like this is obviously it's for ages 8 and up, so it's not gonna be overly complex or I was gonna say deep, but it could be deep gameplay, even for younger players. But I share this. I thought this looked kind of cool. All right, arriving in May from Funko Games and Prospero Hall is Fast and Furious Highway Heist. Here's what I know. Get ready for an exciting new mission based on the blockbuster movie series. playing as Dom, Brian, Letty, Roman, and the rest of Team Toretto on a harrowing high-speed heist. Go up against heavily armed enemies with your hot cars, daring driving, and jaw-dropping vehicle-to-vehicle leaps of faith. Whether you're taking down a swerving semi filled with valuable cargo, stopping a rampaging tank in its tracks, or bringing down a high-tech helicopter as it rains fire from the skies, you'll have to work together to take advantage of every team member's strengths. Each of the three scenarios is different and impacts how you and your high-stakes seeking team will strategize to win. On players' turns, they'll move, leap from vehicle to vehicle, fight back enemies, and pull off crazy stunts that also act as a timer for the game. Run out of stunts to do, and you lose the scenario. You'll accomplish this by passing dice skill checks, which your variable player powers and vehicle stats will impact. Each scenario has a different objective you must complete to win, so get ready to work with your own fast family. It's up to you to pull off the job no other crew can do. Fast and Furious Highway Heist is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in around an hour. It is going to hit stores next month. It's going to carry an MSRP of $29.99. This could be kind of interesting. I gotta say, usually we do see that the majority of movie tie-in games are not all that good. But this could be interesting. It looks like there's something to it. It's got 3 different scenarios, so that's kind of cool as well. But it looks like there might be a little meat on the bones to this game. So I thought I would share it. Gotta be honest, Funko Games doesn't like me. So I reviewed the Funko Universe, the games, and I did the review for which one was it that I did? Oh, Rick and Morty, and was like, meh. And I don't think they were too keen on that, but I got to tell you what I think, right? But this has nothing to do with Pops. So could be kind of cool. Could be kind of cool. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news, because hitting stores in May is the Kobold Guide to Monsters. Here's the skinny. The Any award-winning Kobold Guide series returns with the Kobold Guide to Monsters. This definitive tome about tabletop RPG creature creation and their use at the gaming table contains invaluable insight and advice from some of the top minds in role-playing game design today. A wide range of philosophy and perspectives are on display in these pages, including how to design monsters based on mythology, literature, or pop culture, how to balance a monster's flavor with functionality, how to reskin monsters for any genre of campaign, how to make friends with even the most snarling beasts, how to tell a story with an encounter, and how to best pace an encounter, and much more. With essays grouped by subject matter from monster design to encounter design, and presented in thoughtful progression, this tome is the perfect companion for game masters and players alike who want to learn from the very best. It's a great gift for budding game designers, and it's the perfect impulse buy for gamers of all stripes. The 110-page softcover is going to carry an MSRP of $19.99 when it arrives on May 26th. Do not have any word as far as when this will be out in PDF. Normally, with Kobold Press, I think it's usually about 2 or 3 months that their physical books are out, and then they'll roll out a PDF. So I would say maybe in the later summer, you'll see it in PDF. Then again, you might never see it in PDF. Might only be available as a soft cover. So those of you out there who dig the Kobold guides, you've got a new one coming on the horizon. So keep your eyes peeled. All right, my final news piece, there's a series of adventures that are designed for the fantasy trip from Steve Jackson Games. These have arrived from Gaming Ballistic LLC. Some of them have been out for a while. Let me share some information about these. First off, we've got Crown of Eternity by Christopher R. Rice and J. Edward Tremlett. The party is tasked with finding a lost researcher for an exclusive league of magical explorers. The lost Eldritch archaeologist was in search of the fabled Crown of Eternity. This is a quest adventure with the following goals: bring back the explorer, dead, alive, maybe a bit of both. Cross a vast ocean, a treacherous desert, and a poisoned sea, beset from ahead and behind by competing factions and dire threats. The party must succeed where a rival daredevil failed. Find the Crown of Eternity, snatching it from his grasp if necessary. This is a patronage quest and introduces the Indahina League. Yeah, I'm taking a guess. I'm taking a stab. A mysterious and well-funded group of treasure-seeking mages and scholars. They very much also have their own agenda. The last page of this adventure does contain 42 print-them-yourself tokens for monsters and NPCs that appear in the adventure. It is in black and white. This PDF is 16 pages. You can grab it for $4.99. Then we've got Curse of the Pirate King by Christopher R. Rice and J. Edward Tremlett. The expedition seems simple. Travel to the former capital of a vast pirate nation. Yeah, that's super easy, right? Yeah, we're just going to go, sail right into this, the remains of this pirate nation. It's easy. Easy. You're tasked with finding the fabled Blade of Dawn. This straightforward mission is complicated by several factors. A long ago betrayal brought a centuries-long curse upon the realm of the Pirate King and his island fortress. The island is far from uninhabited, though few walking its lands are properly described as living. The players must discover how death has found a way to bring strange life to the Isle of the Pirate King. All the party has to do is go to the lifeless rock and loot the treasure of 1,000 dead buccaneers. What could go wrong? This quest follows the events of Crown of Eternity, with that powerful organization now working. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to spoil it. Last page of this adventure also does contain 42 print-them-yourself tokens for monsters and NPCs. This is a 16-page PDF for $4.99. We've got Rock of Sages, also by Christopher R. Rice and J. Edward Tremlett. The semi-corporeal arcane archaeologist Jacques Cervantes. It's like, I'm Jacques Cervantes. Is added again. This time he claims to need certain cast-offs from the legendary Viridian rocks. Giant creatures not known for their Gentile disposition. Beset by League assassins known as collectors, the party must once again brave a desolate wasteland to recover the objects. And when the scatterbrained Cervantes does the planning, things never work out as intended. Rock of Sages is designed for 4 to 6 characters of 34 to 36 points. It's intended to follow the events of Crown of Eternity and Curse of the Pirate King, but contains advice in case you want to start a campaign with this volume. Last page of the adventure does contain those 42 print your own counters. This is 16 pages for $5.99. Got 2 more to go. Catacombs of Living Death by Christopher R. Rice and, you guessed it, J. Edward Tremlett. The Red Plague has come to Athan. Following the events of Rock of Sages, the always acquisitive Jacques Cervantes again calls stalwart adventurers to aid him in his efforts to find and recover valuable arcane artifacts. This time, they must venture forth and travel through a plague-stricken land. Surviving the journey, the heroes must enter the catacombs of Eulogia and discover the powerful Helm of Bot. Simple enough, but things are not always as they appear. Nothing that powerful sits unguarded and unwatched. The present owners are certain to object strenuously. Catacombs of Living Death is for 4 to 6 players, 36-38 points. While designed to follow Crown of Eternity, Curse of the Pirate King, and Rock of Sages, it can be played by itself with some adjustment. This 20-page PDF carries an MSRP of $6.49. Then the final one, The Sunken Library. Yes, once again by Christopher R. Rice and J. Edward Tremlett. Drowned in knowledge. Set immediately following Catacombs of Living Death, the heroes flee a plague-ridden landscape while being beset by many foes throughout the journey. The plans of their seemingly addled patron, Jacques Cervantes, reach their fateful conclusion. His partners must bring all of their previously acquired, looted and pillaged, artifacts to a secret location to effect a final ritual under the waters of a lake in far-off Iran. They're searching for a supposedly lost book in the sunken Great Library of Hell. Matters become treacherously clear. The Sunken Library is designed for 4 to 6 characters, 36 to 38 points. It is the epic conclusion to a series of 5 adventures featuring the arcane archaeologist Jacques C. Cervantes. This PDF is the longest of the bunch. It is 40 pages and it can be had for $9.49. These 5 adventures are all available at Drive-Thru RPG. Reason why I wanted to mention this is that there are not a lot of third-party adventures for the Fantasy Trip and, oh gosh, what did Steve Jackson Games kickstart it again as? The Dungeon something? I forget. I know it didn't, I mean, it kickstarted and they brought it to retail, but it didn't do as well for them as they had hoped. But I know there are a lot of people out there who like the Fantasy Trip. They have a soft spot for the Fantasy Trip. So these sound like pretty interesting adventures. I like the cover artwork on these. They're actually really nicely done. So I thought I'd share it. I thought I'd share something a little bit different as opposed to our usual, the usual suspects we talk about when we're discussing role-playing games. Of course, as I mentioned, these are all available at Drive-Thru RPG. Of course, whenever I talk about Drive-Thru RPG, keep in mind that the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to swing over to DM's Guild or Drive-Thru RPG, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that. Little bit. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up. And really does keep thegaminggang.com around. Melwinius from York points out, yes, Dungeon Fantasy. Thank you. So I have all these games running through my head today. So yes, that is it. It is Dungeon Fantasy that Steve Jackson Games did a Kickstarter for. It did well enough for them. They brought it in. And then, I didn't hear it wasn't good. As far as I understand, it was just more of a fleshed out fantasy trip than anything else. I don't think it was like a fantasy GURPS because they already had plenty of fantasy releases for GURPS. But for some reason, it didn't sell well. That's all I know. And that came from Steve Jackson Games themselves when they released their annual kind of like, it's not like an investor's report. It's just they basically just released publicly how they'd done for the year, and they took a hit on that. And that's kind of too bad. And yes, I know it's that love-hate relationship I've got with Steve Jackson Games, but I don't sit here going, oh, I hope they go out of business. In fact, I just talked to Elliot Miller, my best friend, right? Hey, he gets 2 mentions in this show so far. I was talking to him last week, and I said, "Oh, I am so tempted to buy Car Wars. Although I don't think you can. I don't think there's a late pledge going on for it right now, and it is not out yet. So I'm kind of waiting to see when it pops up. But I told Elliot, I said it's like $200 to get a lot of the goodies. It might even be more than that. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. If I really don't like it, then I'm sitting there going, why did I spend $200 on this? Although Elliot pointed out that he had backed it wasn't Kickstarter, it was, I think, Game Found for Portal Games, like special edition of Robinson Crusoe with all the extras and that. I think he said he dropped like $230 on that because he really likes that game. I like it. I've only played it a couple of times with him. I like it, but I don't think I'd be dropping 230 bones on it. All right, so we've had a few folks pop in to chat. We have Zarex Duran 1, Double Z1 has popped in. Only hanging out for a little bit, it looks like. Good to have you back. A Gray Day has swung in. Flaming Heron's with us as well. Flaming Heron says, did Jeff say GURPS? I did. I mentioned GURPS. I used to pick up some of the GURPS stuff. I got to be honest, I don't think I ever ran it. Maybe I tried to run it once. I think I did try to run it once or twice with George R.R. Martin's Wild Cards. Because I was a big Wild Cards fan. I turned a lot of people onto that book series back in the day. And I mean, I had GURPS, and I used to pick up, like the source books and stuff all the time if they caught my eye. And a lot of times I just steal it for other games. So no, I never ran GURPS. GURPS is just, when we talk crunchy, it's like, yeah, we're talking big time RPG crunch. So Double Z1 asks, did GURPS make the Illuminati back in the days? Steve Jackson Games, of course, did that game, which is love Illuminati. It's actually one of my favorite old Steve Jackson games. They did a GURPS Illuminati book. I'm almost positive. A Gray Day or Flaming Heron's probably a good source to let us know if that is the case or not. Maybe even the Madman. Though I think the Madman's more Savage Worlds, 5e kind of stuff. If I'm wrong, I apologize, Madman. Don't come driving down here to the Chicagoland area to kick my butt. Anyway, all right. So that is that bit of news tonight. Now, there's a couple other things I did want to mention because I'm always looking to save people money, getting them good deals. So you might remember, maybe about a week and a half ago, I was doing a news piece from Goodman Games, and it was about the Dungeon Crawl Classics. I want to say it's the first time fan kit. And it's $35. And it included the soft cover 8th print run of the, 500-page rule book, a first level adventure. It has the Zachi dice. And that is how I've been told it is pronounced. Zachi. And that comes from somebody who knows Lou Zachi. So I know some people said in chat before it's Zaki. According to somebody who knows Lou, they said it is Zachi. Zachi dice. Don't know. I have no idea. Or I could just say Game Science, right? Isn't that Lou's company? Isn't that? I think Lou's still around. I don't know. Without having conventions in a while, it's been, I don't know. I think Lou's still around. So you get a set of the dice, right? And then you get a cardstock Game Master screen. And I had to laugh because I did the news piece and it was out of stock. It must have gone out of stock between me putting the news piece together and doing the show. So a matter of hours, right? And it was the dice. The dice had sold out, so you couldn't get the set. So I'm just sitting around Saturday night, and I'm thinking, I really would like to take a look at Dungeon Crawl Classics. Even though, and I've reached out to Goodman Games a couple of times to try to work something out, do some reviews. And it's just never comes about, right? And I'm like, I always hear some good stuff about DCC. So I thought, I'm going to go take a look to see if if it's back in stock. Because I thought it would have been silly for them to have this special, almost like a starter set kind of pack, right? And then like have it for like a day. And then it's like, oh, well, it's sold out. I'll be damned. It's available once again. And as you notice, it's got the green dice. The original one had these blue dice. I think it was something like Blue Hydra or something along those lines. So you can get this deal once again. You can get the core rule book. You can get the first level adventure. What is it? Doom of the Savage Kings. I think that's what it's called. That's the other thing I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if the other first time fan kit included that adventure or if it was a different adventure. Regardless. Plus you get the full set of dice, which the dice alone usually run about $20. And you get the Game Master screen. So it is a really nice deal. It is a pretty sweet deal. Even if you got the PDF for the Dungeon Crawl Classics, just core rulebook, that's $25 just for the PDF. This includes PDFs of the core rulebook, the adventure, as well as the Game Master screen, which are made available to you once your purchase has been processed. So I got an email, I don't know, within about 20 minutes. So this is on its way to me. So I am actually reading through the PDFs. So I'm like, So I'm definitely like, okay, so once this arrives, I might be able to roll out a review of the entire kit very shortly. Maybe even that same, well, probably not the same day it comes. If it shows up like on a Friday or the weekend, yes, then I will. Otherwise, I'll have to probably put it off to the next day. But like I said before, this is a fantastic deal. This is a really, really good deal. Did want to mention it is available again. So I know there were some people in chat who were really intrigued by this. And I think it was Gary who is not with us in chat tonight. I think Gary said, oh, I just went over to the website to go order it and it's out of stock. Well, now it is. So Double Z1 says, whenever someone says it's 400 plus pages, I'm sold. I got to be honest, I can see why people really do dig Dungeon Crawl Classics. I am enjoying reading it. Got to admit, there are a lot of charts to it, but they aren't really part of the mechanics of the game. There's a lot of stuff with different spells, like each of the spells, and there aren't tons of spells. There aren't tons of monsters either, but I do completely agree with their philosophy as far as the monsters go. But the core rules of the game are not that crunchy. They really aren't. There's some stuff to it, but yeah, there's some things I really, really do like from what I've read so far. I am about 300 pages in, so I am just kind of getting into the Game Master section as well. So once again, Goodman Games First Time Fan Kit available once again, $35 plus tax and shipping. Comes from California. So my total was like $47 and change. So still a pretty damn good deal. Something else I do want to mention, once again, trying to save you some money. All the PDFs over at Paizo's website for both Pathfinder, Starfinder are 25% off through May 2nd. All of them. So if there are any books or adventures or anything like that you've been looking to pick up for either Pathfinder 2nd Edition or Starfinder, by all means, this is the time to do it. Something I always have pointed out too when talking about like core books from Paizo, their PDFs are actually very inexpensive compared to the physical books. And what I mean by that is usually, say a core book's going to be about, let's say, $49.99. Usually your PDF is half that price. So a lot of times you'll see the PDF be, we're talking like at Drive-Thru RPG, right? So if we have like a $50 physical book, that PDF is probably running $25. Paizo is a little bit different. Some of their real core game books might be a $50 hardcover and a $15 PDF. So take 25% off of that, you're getting some pretty sweet deals. So that is something else I did want to share with you as well. So trying to save you folks some money out there, especially those of you out there who enjoy role-playing games like I do. All right, so we're going to jump into our first look at Scope Stalingrad in just a moment. But just so you know what's cooking this week, tomorrow, we're actually going heavy on books this week. So tomorrow I am going to take a first look and we are going to page through Stargrave, which is from Joseph A. McCullough, the creator of Rangers of Shadow Deep and, of course, Frostgrave. This is from Osprey Games, and we are going to take a first look and page through this on tomorrow's show. Then on Wednesday, we are going to take a peek at Polyversal, which is a 6mm science fiction. It's kind of, it's not near future, but it's not like, we're not talking like Star Trek future, right? So this is 6mm science fiction miniatures as well. Looks like you can put together some really epic battles. And this is from Collins Epic War Games. And then on Thursday, you know how I always love covering role-playing games on Thursdays. We're going to jump back to an Osprey Games release, and I am going to page through and take a look at Jackals. This is a bronze. How about English, Jeff? English. I should try not to be looking at chat and trying to speak about something at the exact same time. Bronze. Yeah, that was like right near the Iran age. Anyway, we're gonna look at Jackals, a Bronze Age role-playing game, which is from Osprey Games. Fleming Heron's like bronze. I love it. Bronze. Some other stuff has arrived. I had mentioned last week I had some stuff coming from Stronghold Games. So I've got Bravo and Divvy Dice. And I gotta be honest, and we'll look at these. Yeah, we'll check these out. I'll review them. But as I had pointed out to the PR person for Stronghold, these games really aren't. Move over here so you get a better look. Really aren't in the wheelhouse for the gaming gang audience. I mean, they just aren't. But I also got Not Alone, which I have played. I played Not Alone the first time we did a charity stream for Extra Life. And I want to say Elliot was the alien. And we were able to defeat him. We defeated the alien. So Not Alone, the Sanctuary expansion, as well as the Exploration expansion. So what we might do is we might look at all of these. Do one video where we're taking a peek at all of these. Now I know I think we've got a review of Not Alone on the website, but I will do my own as well. So Flaming Karen had said, yeah, the books are expensive, at least compared to D&D ones, but I feel you get a lot more content. I think Flaming Heron's talking about Pathfinder. Actually, I don't think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's not talking about Pathfinder. I was going to say that I honestly think the pricing is pretty similar with Paizo and Wizards of the Coast. And in the reality of it, usually you get a higher page count in the Paizo releases than you do Wizards of the Coast. So off the top of my head, I don't recall what the core book MSRP is for Pathfinder Second Edition. I think it might be $59.95, if I remember correctly. And I think the MSRP on each of the core books for 5th edition D&D is, I think it's $39.99, $39.95, something like that. So anyway, so there's some discussion about 1,000 Islands. That is something else that I've heard really good things about. And yes, it is kind of a Great Ace pointing out it's kind of an Indonesian, Malay, sort of like Malaysian setting. And I had heard it is really, really interesting, kind of South Asian, I guess we'll say Southern Asian sort of vibe to it. If I remember correctly, one of the podcasts I listen to, I don't listen to a ton of gaming podcasts, but one that I do like is Fear of a Black Dragon. And they talked about it on one of the shows. And Tom and, gosh, I can't remember like the main kind of host, his name. He's like the guy who runs the Gauntlet, or is like the kind of like the driving force behind the Gauntlet. I'm sure there's more people than just him. But yeah, good mention there. So those are actually coming out according to a Grade A. They're printing them, and that he has ordered them and has them in PDF. So Double Z1 says they'll have to check it out in Europe/Sweden. They only buy used books because people don't have any money during this, COVID times. Yes. Bought Pathfinder core rules for $10. Probably first edition, I would guess. Well, I mean, I'll be the first to point out, if here in the U.S., Canada, like Amazon, you can score the 3 core books for 5th edition D&D. I think about $75-$80. So that's not bad. I mean, that's, once again, so Double Z1 says it was 2E. Nice. That's a good deal. That's a sweet deal. That's for sure. All right. Let's start talking about what some folks are going to be tuning in to check out. Do want to mention, if you're watching live, I am going to jump into Scope Stalingrad from Draco Ideas in just a moment. If you're watching after the fact and it's like 12 hours after this stream ended, then you're going to get an ad. So just hang tight, and I'll be back in a sec. All right. As I mentioned, we are taking a look at Scope Stalingrad from Draco Ideas. It is designed by Juan A. Nasher with artwork provided by Matthias Cazorla. The game is for 2 or 4 players. For ages 12 and up, plays in around 15 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $19.99. It is supposed to arrive in the U.S. in June. It has been out in Europe prior to this, but Draco Ideas is out of Spain, I do believe. And they've actually got some really interesting looking, like heavier war games. They've got one for the Spanish Civil War that looks very, very interesting. All right. So Let's open this up. So Grade A says they noticed that the Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars books are getting a reprint. Huh. And they're hitting stores, and secondary market prices are now lower on the Star Wars. Yeah, that was... maybe we'll talk about that after I finish taking a peek at this. I mean, I don't really have a beef with Fantasy Flight Games, but like the role-playing game stuff, they tend to like to release a lot of stuff that you need to have variety of books for. All right, Scope is a card game in which each player controls a sniper team that must eliminate the rival sniper team and other strategic objectives, shooting wisely and changing position to not be discovered and eliminated. Let's crack this on open. So we got a little rule booklet. And we've got a deck of cards, and we've got card sleeves that came with this. So that's cool. We got some free card sleeves. Nice. I think that we've got 60 cards in this deck. So first off, let's take a look at the rules here. So it says, oh, that's not English. Let's go find English. There we go. The year is 1942, World War II. Germany and the Soviet Union fight fiercely for control of a ruined Stalingrad. In this merciless urban combat, snipers from both sides have a decisive role, spreading chaos and shooting down priority targets in the enemy front. In Scope, each player controls a sniper team that must eliminate the rival sniper team and other strategic objectives, looking for targets, changing position, and shooting wisely to not be discovered and eliminated. So it looks like so Double Z1 says, I have hands like frying pans. No, this game is small. This game is really small. Yes, I am a giant. So it looks like we've got a breakdown of quadrants, which are a series of 4 cards, and we've got different columns and rows. So there you go. It says we've got 60 cards in it. Talking about different cards. So we have sniper, empty area, decoy, officer, scout, mortar, machine gun, and infantry. Talking about the base game. 2 players alternate turns during the game. In a turn, each player must perform only one of the following 2 actions. Move. Player takes 4 cards of any quadrant group, 2 by 2, from their front and rearrange them as they wish in the same quadrant. Only quadrants with 4 allied cards can be moved. Search. Player reveals an enemy area card. The card contains a sniper or unit. The player can shoot and eliminate it. Almost feels like there's a bit of a almost like Battleship vibe to this. So that is move or shoot. So we've got some basic scenarios. We've got some thematic scenarios. So it says, and the thematic scenarios start from the configuration of a basic scenario and add or remove cards as indicated. So we've got Duel of Aces, where it looks like each side only has 1 sniper. Break the chain of command, neutralize the artillery, stop the advance in offensive without snipers. And we got an advanced mode as well. So then it looks like it discusses each of the cards. And then okay, so here's the 3 and 4 player game. So it says in a 4-player game, each side's divided into snipers and units. So each player controls one of the divisions. It's played by teams. So I guess I would take a guess that they're talking about you're going to kind of like divide it in half, and one person's got one side, the other person's got the other side. John Vogel's hanging out with us tonight. Good to see you, John. Thanks for swinging on in to hang out in chat with us. All right, let me open up the deck of cards. Take a quick peek here. I don't think we're going to have a bunch of artwork on these. I don't know. I have no idea. Come on, you. There we go. Like, use my hobby knife on it. It's not catching it. No, we got some artwork right there. Let's get rid of the book. So we've got Germans right here and Soviets right here. And of course, I said, I don't know if there's a lot of art on it. And we do have some art. So that's cool. So we got bang. It looks like there's probably nothing. Empty area. Okay, well, first thing I got to say, it probably would have been nice if we had some different artwork on these empty areas as opposed to just the same like street here. All right, so that looks like that's a sniper. Is that a woman? Almost looks like that could be a woman. There's another sniper and another sniper. Okay, so I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so looks like that's a machine gun. That's an officer. That looks like Khrushchev. I'm not sure if it's Khrushchev or not, but it kind of does look like him. A scout? Might be, I think that's a scout. That's artillery, and these are units. So, those are the Soviets here. Let's take a look at the Germans. I'm not sure what this bang card represents. If you flip that over, does that mean you get hit? Yeah, I mean, that could be. All right, so we got the same street again with that. Well, I'll tell you right now, that's gonna give it a ding in the review, because those are a lot of cards having the same exact artwork. I mean, it's not, if the game is fun, it's not gonna be a huge ding, but I am gonna mention it. All right, so now we have the German snipers. So we have 3 of them. What is that? Let's take a look. Let's see what that says. Is that, I'm trying to see. All right, so let's go back up to here. Oh, it's a decoy. Okay, so that's what this is. That is a decoy. Machine guns, officers, scouts, artillery, and the units. So double Z1 is like decoy. Yep, that is a decoy. And then, of course, we've got some card sleeves. I got to say, like the fact that they're tossing some card sleeves in here. This is only a $20 game. So I like that fact that they've done that as well. Even, I mean, they could be penny sleeves, and this is like $1. But just think how many games that don't include any sorts of sleeves whatsoever. All right, so we've got the 30 cards in each deck. We have the card sleeves. And then we have the little rule book in Spanish and English. And that's what we find when we take everything from Scope, Stalingrad, outside the box. So I will have a review of this in the very near future, because this looks like this will be pretty easy to get to the table and check out. It is, of course, once again, from Draco Ideas. Scope Stalingrad is designed by Juan A. Nasir with artwork provided by Matthias Cazorla. It is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays around 15 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $19.99 when it arrives in stores in June. I believe that is what I understand as far as some distributors and things like that, if you go to the Draco Ideas website, it shows that it is sold out. But I don't know if that is like the English language version being sold out or if it's just saying sold out because it's not available yet. So I got it early, I think. So yes, so I will have a review of this very, very shortly. All right. So as there was some discussion going on in chat about FFG, let's see what we get here real quick. So Double Z1 says FFG does good stuff. They want to try to get Legend of the Five Rings. I knew what you meant. As soon as I saw it, I knew what game you meant. So Melwinia says they like Star Wars, but it's quite an investment. I know. See, that's what I was going to say. That's what kind of throws me off. And I know people will say, well, look at Dungeons and Dragons. You need to have 3 books, I should say. Well, you could get away with 2, but you really need 3. You need the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual to effectively run Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, yes, I get it. So you need those 3 books. Fantasy Flight Games, they kind of broke up the cool stuff that people love about Star Wars into 3 separate books. So if you wanted to have Jedi in your games, well, then you need to go get that core book that has Force powers and Jedi and things like that. I thought that was wonky. I thought that was just odd. And that's something that Fantasy Flight Games has done with role-playing games in the past. They did that with some of their Warhammer 40K role-playing game releases. It was sort of the same thing, where it's like, oh, well, if you want to play this, it's going to be in this book. And if you want to play that, it's in this book. And maybe Warhammer 40K is not a great example because there's so many different things to it. Obviously, you're not going to include it all in just one book. But so it's just something that I find I guess, it's weird. I don't want to necessarily be like, oh, damn Fantasy Flight Games, because it's not what I mean. They could cut people a little bit of a break, is what I'm kind of saying. And one of the aspects of role-playing games that I love, and I should ask, before I jump into this, I should mention, so a Grade A says, if you want to do Jedi, you only need the Jedi book, really. You don't need the other 2. Like I said, I don't know. This is just, I have not seen the books. I have not had an opportunity. One of the reasons is because Lucasfilms wouldn't let them sell PDFs. So that's why I haven't seen the actual physical books up close and taken a peek. But I was going to say that one of these shows, maybe, not next week, maybe the week after that, I think maybe we'll do a show where I do the news and then we'll talk role-playing games. And if people want to pick my brain about what I think of different things and how I run games, yeah, I think we'll do that. I think it'll be pretty cool. So Fantasy Flight Games, according to Grade A, says Fantasy Flight Games went all in on Star Wars. Do you think it helped them or doomed them? I got to be honest. I don't think it mattered either way as far as FFG. There's the whole restructuring of everything over at Fantasy Flight Games and the various different people who had left. Probably not of their own volition. So Flaming Heron says they think they had bigger problems in Star Wars. Yeah, I agree. I think that was, I don't know. I have never been that tight with Fantasy Flight Games. Anton Torres and I would do interviews all the time, and I'd talk with him at the various different conventions and stuff like that. It was always super nice. But, and I've said this before, Fantasy Flight Games was like pulling teeth to try to get a review copy out of them for anything. I mean, I think I got all of 3 games total to review from Fantasy Flight Games. So Double Z1 is asking if they did the One Ring. No, they did not. They are not, and they are not doing it. That was Cubicle 7 Entertainment, and now it's over at Free League Publishing. So we are looking at that. So Grade A said they had a lot of designers leave. Yes, and then they sent all their role-playing game licenses over to a company. I think they're in Spain, which that's not necessarily a bad thing because a lot of those European publishers do some really nice-looking role-playing games. Not to say that Fantasy Flight Games didn't make really good-looking game books. They always have. So I don't know. I gotta be honest. I think the whole dribs and drabs and a little bit of Star Wars RPG comes out, a little bit of Star Wars RPG comes out. Same thing with Legend of the Five Rings. They'll release a book, and then they might not release something else for it for about a year. And then something comes out. So, I don't know. So, a Grade A says the role-playing game division went over to Edge Entertainment, which is in Spain. Yeah, I knew they were in Spain. I was pretty sure. All right. So Grade A says they're going all in on Star Wars siloed them and prevented exploration of other titles. But the thing is, I don't think recent Fantasy Flight Games has been all that sold on role-playing games anyway. I think Fantasy Flight Games picked up Legend of the Five Rings because they were more interested in the card game for L5R than they were the role-playing game for L5R. But they figured, well, since we've got this property and L5R, the role-playing game has a pretty rabid core group. Not that it's huge, but they do have some very, very passionate fans of that role-playing game. I think that's kind of what happened there. But yeah, because really FFG was kind of cutting back on role-playing games, the various different titles that they had available. John Bogle's calling it a night. Good to see you, John. So Double Z1 says the problem with Free League is that they spit out games, and I think they are too few to make supplements for all that gets out. Or, okay, I know what Double Z's trying to say, or what they're saying there. So Free League's releasing too much content. I don't know. They've got some pretty good-sized teams working on their projects. So if you think about it, depends on what you're looking at. Like if we're talking about Mutant Year Zero, yes, I would agree that, but the thing is, I don't know how much is left in that line that they actually wanted to do for Mutant Year Zero. You're lucky if you see a new release for that on a yearly basis. Some stuff has come out, like Alien. Alien came out. It was pretty hot. People were really excited about it. We had a couple of releases, plus we had the starter set, and then it's kind of crickets once again. Symborum is something that they do a lot of. There's a lot out there, and that, I believe, has a design team that is really, really into it. Because I think, I'm not positive, but I think the design team from Symborum did not start as part of Free League. I think they came on board. I think. I'm not positive. I think. So you've got that. Mjorkborg, I got to be honest. I mean, I think it's fine. I do not like the whole suddenly everybody's got to be like edgy and like have this weird art style and hey, we're going to make it really hard to read the shit on this page for this game here with our crazy ass artwork. I don't like the influence that it's had, especially on some of the third party like OSR, smaller OSR publishers out there. So like, give me a break. I think that'll blow over. I think we'll maybe see about another year of that, and then people will be like, yeah, I think I'm done with that. I want to be able to read what I'm trying to look at here. So Double Z1 says Symborum's a different company they bought. There you go. Okay. Another like Tales from the Loop. Tales from the Loop is and then Things from the Flood. And then the starter set came out for Tales from the Loop, which I don't want to say I savaged it because I didn't savage it, but I did not recommend it as far as people picking it up. I got to be honest. I think it was the first time I ever did not recommend a Free League Publishing release. But I didn't think it was worth it. I thought, what were you getting? Like 45 pages of content, some dice, some kind of cool cardstock maps. Yeah, okay, that was all right. But the actual gaming material, I was like, there was nothing there. There was no there. So, Grady says they're waiting for Ruin Master from Riot Minds. That is not something I'm familiar with. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. See, we could sit and talk role-playing games for hours. I'm serious, we could. That's what I'm saying. Not that if we do an episode where it's just me talking role-playing games, that it's going to be hours long. Probably be, hour and a half, something like, maybe an hour talking about role-playing games. So Double Z1 says, love you, Jeff. Hey, I love all you folks out there too. When I tell you I really appreciate you tuning in, I mean it. I'm not like, oh, thanks everybody for showing up. No, I'm serious. I really do appreciate it. So, and that's, and okay, so I wasn't going to mention this, but I guess I'll mention it. It's going to be really quick. I'm not going to go off on a big tangent. So I got an email today. If you follow me on Twitter, I said something about another content creator. Probably shouldn't have said. So I took that tweet down. But first of all, I start off my day. I get an email from somebody from a Hotmail account. And to paraphrase what they were saying was they can't wait for fat, straight, white men like me to die off out of our hobby. Let that sink in for a sec. As I have like a piece of fuzz or something on the mic. Yes, they couldn't wait for fat, straight, white men like me to die out. And I was like, for one, I'm like, whatever. It's like, come on, give me a break. First thing I thought really is if it wasn't for fat, straight, white men like me, you wouldn't have a hobby. So it's like, don't see what says, that was my mail. I knew it. I had a feeling it was coming from Sweden or Netherlands or whatever. I knew it. So yeah, so I was like, what the hell? And then of course I pop onto Twitter and had a message from somebody a publisher asking about how come this content creator, and I'm not going to mention their name. Once again, I deleted the tweet afterwards. How is it that they show up on all these Kickstarters doing reviews and that, yet they have very few subscribers? I think it's like 1,400 subscribers, but worse yet, all their videos get like 40 views, 50 views, and we're talking videos that have been out like a year. And then I took a peek, and there's some that get a few hundred. I think the most I saw, most views out of anything, and I think I looked through about 2 years, and I had heard of this person before, and it was one of these things where it's like, who is this person? Right? I thought the same thing. Why do I see this person all the time in Kickstarters? Anyway, so I was taking a peek and I was like, so I tweeted, about, because I was already the email in the morning saying, how come you don't just die off? Was sort of like, got me a little frosty. So then what I heard from the publisher saying, basically like, how come this person gets all their, all these Kickstarters and that, and their videos suck, according to the publisher. I didn't watch any. And I said, how come you're not doing more of that? And I'm like, I'm like thinking, yeah, how come I'm not? And in reality, what it is, it's because publishers gotten lazy. All these publishers out there, they go look at all these different Kickstarters and they just look to see who did videos for the Kickstarter, and then they go contact them. They don't take a look and see, wow, that Kickstarter video got 30 views in a year. So anyway, but yes, so I got an email like that today. I was like, it's been a while since I've gotten an email from somebody like, telling me, drop that, or you suck, or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yes, so I was thinking, yeah, if it weren't for people like me, there wouldn't be a hobby for you to enjoy. So, sorry, I'm certainly not a gatekeeper. I've never been a gatekeeper to keep people out of this hobby, ever. All right, so Fleming Huron says, people are stupid. Males in general are the reason most games even exist. I know. All right, so, all right. So they're talking about the Riot Minds role-playing game. So Double Z1 says, if the time it took to write the mail did something good for the game. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think that person would have been better served if they had spent those few minutes composing that, or a minute. I mean, it wasn't a big, long diatribe by any stretch. It was just, a few sentences. Yeah, they could have been investing that time in it, actually doing some good. I don't know. And and the thing is, I get it. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know I'm not here with purple hair, and I'm not 20 years old. And I don't tell you that every game is just amazing and awesome. And no, I don't. I tell you the truth. It's what I tell you. So whatever. Anyway, all right. That's it for tonight's show. Just babbling on as usual. Once again, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch airs live Monday through Thursday right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos as well, such as my 750th review for the Gaming Gang. Not that I've done all 750, but the 750th review from the Gaming Gang. That's right. It is of Delta Green Black Sights from Arc Dream Publishing. Yes. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So, Great A's like, your audience isn't like that either, Jeff. So Flaming Heron says, no, you're a real gamer, not one of these posers pretending. Yeah, right. So, anyway. Yeah, like I said, I was just sharing that I got the email. Trust me, it wasn't like, oh no, maybe they're going to come kill me. No. All right, so I'm actually going to go read more Dungeon Crawl Classics after I get everything done from tonight's show. All right, so tomorrow, remember, we are going to take a first look at Stargrave from Osprey Games. Yes, it's the latest skirmish level miniatures game from Joseph A. McCullough. So that is on tomorrow's show. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday night, Tuesday morning, or whatever day it happens to be. I'll be back tomorrow. And of course, as I wrap up all my videos during this never-ending pandemic, I hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, if you haven't subscribed to the Gaming Gang channel yet, click right here. If you'd like to see the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, click right up there. And if you want to trust YouTube's algorithm to give you something to watch, click right there. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and everybody please wear a mask.